let's talk length of pull. A very good question was asked the other day, and thanks so much for these people sending in questions. It's food for thought for me. It keeps me going. So a very good question was asked the other day. Dom, can you explain length of pull? So I'll give you my interpretation of length of pull. I'll give you what I've discovered in the last couple of years with all my investigation, with YouTube and books and things I see and hear and read. Okay, so traditionally, I guess a lot of us fellas, a lot of us older fellas would have always been taught to work out your length of pull is to put the buttstock of the rifle into the crook of your elbow, okay, and have your finger resting easily on the trigger. So length of pull back in the day was worked out from there to there. Okay, that's an older technology, and that came about back in the days when a lot of us shot bladed to our guns. Okay, when I was a kid, when I was an Army Cadets prone, they teach us, that being the top half of our body, so from your hips to your head, when you're prone, they teach you to kick your legs out that way. So that's how you shot prone in cadets. Whereas nowadays we shoot prone behind our gun. A lot of us, instead of being bladed on a prop, now we're 90 to our gun, okay, and we're trying to get our gun in more into the center of our body. It's impossible to have it like in the center of your chest. So what I talk about is having it resting in your pec muscle. You know, like Dad always taught me, put it in the pocket of your shoulder, okay, to absorb the recoil. Whereas now we're finding centerfire guys will implement this sort of a system so that when their rifles go off and recoil, they just track straight back down. Doesn't really worry us rimfire shooters, but the basic fundamentals are still the same. It's the same in the handgun world. If you've got everything in the center, the gun goes off, comes straight back down. So because we shoot that way, the old theory of put your buttstock in the crook of your elbow and that's your length of pull is not so much true nowadays. I heard it explained on a great video last year, I think it was, where it said work out your length of pull the old way and then take a little bit off it. So like now for me, if you see where my length of pull now is on this gun, so working on where my finger is comfortably in the trigger, I'm probably that much off it. So 2 inches off. Because I'll tell you another thing, what this happens. If your length of pull is set the traditional way, you'll find when you go prone, if you go prone and you have the gun centered in your body, your gun feels too long. If you're centered to your gun, let's just imagine we're prone, the gun feels too long. So I guess I naturally shortened my length of pull because when I went prone I felt terrible. And then I found out why centerfire shooters do that a lot. So their length of pull traditionally probably would be there. Well, now it's here, okay? So when I'm prone and I'm behind my gun, that feels nice, all right? It also, because we're positional shooters, that little couple inch shorter than your traditional length of pull feels a lot more comfy when you're shooting barrels, when you're shooting off the pyramid, when you're shooting off the 6 litre bucket. It all feels, to me, a lot better than a traditional length of pull. Traditional length of pull for me feels that the gun is too long. It feels like that I'm reaching for the trigger too much. Okay, so when I'm centered and I've got my hand where I want it to be and I've got my cheek weld, that feels really nice. Okay, so that's length of pull, and I hope that helps. while we're here at this end of the gun, let's talk about for a minute this bit here. What height do you need this adjustment at? I don't really have a theory on that, other than I like it out of the way of my face. I like it a little bit longer than when it's flush, just a fraction. It seems to fit me a little bit better as I put it on my pec muscle, but I don't like my chin to hit it. Let me have a look. I have got a mark there. That's better there. So it's just nearly above flush is what works for me, so that I feel as though I have as much contact on that back rubber pad as I can, and I guess that's what you need. You don't need to be looking for that pad. It's in there, it's secure, yet it's out of the way of my face, okay? So I can very comfortably get my cheek weld and not have this part hit me in the face. I'll just quickly, this sounds a bit funny. I have a few quirks. One of my biggest quirks is these butt pads that are sticky. Have you ever noticed how they always stick on your clothing? They'll always want to hang on everything. I have a cutout target here that I slip over that, and it's considerably bigger than the gun. And then I paint that pad. I don't know if it'll show it in the video. You can see where the paint's rubbed off. So the night before a comp, one of the things I do is I slip a cardboard cutout over there, and I give that a quick hit with just some black paint, and I find that more comfortable because it'll slide on your clothes instead of wanting to pick up in your clothes. I've even toyed with the idea of making a wood one of those butt pads and lacquering it. I feel that might be too slippery. But anyway, that's just a little quick tip from me. Hope that helps.